Jay?
Jill, welcome to the podcast. Jill is a writer, trainer, and lecturer. Her social commentary is centered around inner and outer community hierarchies of white fragility and other words for racism, the endlessly pending and highly exclusive revolution, identity, and reaction-based illusions of societal progress. It is Jill's belief that the shift away from the anti-difference will begin with an outpouring of radical, multi-generational, inclusive, and validating honesty. This is the revolution she wishes to invite it to. And no one else could have written this as a bio for herself, aside from JillisBlack.
It's like I don't want to be booked for anything. It's like I don't want money.
They're like, what?
People are like, Jill, can we get a bio? And I send that over and they're like, we'll be in touch. Great. Okay. That's cool.
Oh my God. Well, welcome Jill to the podcast. How you feeling today?
I mean, yeah. You know, but it's good. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you made it. Even though everything is just not as it should be for you, I am still glad to have you here. Let's
Thank you.
Shit. I want to know more about you. I didn't really get to fuck with you too much the first time we met. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Overview of the episode. Icebreakers. We're going to play the game Mentally Stimulate Me. And then we'll go into our 5 questions. And then topic of the week where we're going to talk about Jussie Smollett. Deep sigh, y'all. Okay. So let's just go right into these icebreaker questions. First question. Bae gets in your car and sees a few leftover paper cups from lunch earlier. While driving, they throw them out the window. What are you doing? A, thanking Bae. B, pulling over to make them get the trash. C, asking Bae not to do that again. D, kicking Bae out the car.
What's the choice where it's a divorce? Are you serious? First of all, I would never have cups in my car. Okay, let's start there. Second of all, that's like a house meeting, you know? Because I'm married, so I do things in a very classy and serious way, which means hey, can we have a talk on Saturday? And then have a little coffee, a little mushroom coffee, because I'm elitist, and then launch into a conversation yo, when you did this thing, this is how I felt about it, and here's why it's a problem for me, and let's talk about how we can compromise. I don't have time for games.
All for the paper cups, huh?
Yeah, I don't have time for that. Because that's a symbol. That's a symbol that you don't care.
Right, that's true.
About anything.
Right, you just throw them right out the window.
No. Oh, no.
See, you're better than me. I'm pulling over. I'd be like, babe, get the trash.
And you would do that.
You know me. I'd be like, skirt. Go ahead. You better go pick that up real quick.
But who litters in 2019?
I mean,
I want that t-shirt. Who
litters? No one does that. You will find the trash can.
People do it. That's why you see garbage on the street.
It's just a why, we have so much access to places to throw things out. It's such I'll hold garbage. I have garbage in my car right now that I just didn't want to throw in the street, so it's just in my car because I don't want to throw it on the ground.
What kind of neighborhood do you live in?
A suburbs.
They don't have access everywhere.
You think so? I feel like there's trash cans everywhere, every corner.
No, I wouldn't agree with there's trash cans. Where are you going that there's trash cans on every corner?
New York?
And they still
New York dirty as hell. I was going to say, in New York dirty as hell. All right. Well, I know that I'm going to ask Bae not to do that again, but I'm not as terrible as you guys. I'm not going to make her pick it up. I probably will think differently about her. But, I'm not sweet. I'm not actually terrible at relationships, but I'm not going to ask Bae to get out the car or divorce her. Jill.
Oh, okay. That's nice. That's an interesting choice. That's good.
Second question. You find out your partner has several troll accounts that anonymously antagonizes celebrities on Instagram. What are you doing? A, looking at them differently but staying. B, leaving them because trolls are scum. C, staying because you're a troll too. D, staying but only if they stop trolling.
Oh my God, I want to troll together. I'm so impressed. First of all, just like by the effort, the idea of like even signing out of one Instagram account or like keeping up with multiple. I think you can do like that now, right? Like you can pull up multiple on one thing. Yeah, that's just impressive. So first of all, I'm just really impressed by the multitasking, the commitment to different personalities, the acting, the performance. That's incredibly thoughtful. I think I'm more in love, actually.
Yo, Jill,
I don't think that trolls are terrible people. So I'm also one of the few people who's like, now, like, I remember maybe 7 years ago when trolling meant like, I'm a sad person who gets online and it is my job to make people sad. These days, we call people who disagree with us trolls. Like, we're like, you're trolling. And I'm like, they literally were just like, hey, this thing that you said isn't factual. And here's this troll blacked. Like, I don't even know what that means anymore. So are we talking about like serious troll, like old school troll? Or are we talking about new school troll where, you know, like she's just going around being like, I disagree?
I guess
Valid.
new school, it'd be new school troll, right? Like this.
That's cool.
You are the only one of the three of us that would have an actual troll too. So it's interesting that you would be okay with this. Like,
do you have trolls?
Yeah, of course.
Do they
You're getting trolled right now?
Right now.
Right?
Right now.
You're a lover of your trolls.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a respecter of my trolls. Over time, it was just like, Joe, let me ask you a question. It's just you here. These people aren't actually real. So what are you about in these moments while you're reading this? Like, what can you do? And the answer was like, you know how many times somebody has trolled me and I've gone back a year later and been like, that shit was right. You were right.
Wow.
They'd be like, Jill, yo, you're saying this thing. I think you should consider this because right now you're doing this shit. And I go, and in the moment, I'm like, fuck you. The fuck are you? And then a year later, I'm like, that was so real.
Damn.
You're right.
Trolls fooling out here. Like,
yo, you consistently take something and then I'm like, I swear I know, and then you turn it and I'm like, I don't really know now. Like, this is kind of what you do. Okay, this is how I'm handling the trolls. I'm gonna stay, but Bae has to stop trolling. I'm not gonna break up with Bae for trolling. If they were catfishing, then I'll break up with them. But trolling, I'll deal with that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Have you dated a catfish?
Hmm?
Have you dated a catfish?
I'm like a queer on the internet. Like, I think we've all dated a catfish or 7 or been one.
True. All right, so go ahead.
I was thinking about the catfish thing. I've definitely been catfished. Definitely.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, all right, let me not get sidetracked. So I'm staying, not because I'm a troll too, but because I want parts. I want to see what you're doing. Like, show me. But like with celebrities, who cares? I'm sorry. There's bigger life problems. If it's fun, it's fun.
Y'all ain't right. Y'all ain't right. That's not fun.
Please. They be fine. I'm not making the money they making. I'm a little peasant compared to them. I want to troll. All right, so last question, deal breaker. Yes or no? Would you date, if you were single, right, an aspiring SoundCloud rapper / Instagram model? Yes or no?
Who am I to say no? You know, like, yeah, why not? I mean, it's the question is like, we say that, but the actual question is, do you have enough resources to take care of yourself?
That's a real question, right?
Yeah, like that's the actual question, which is like, you have 2 creative things going on. But my real question is, are they doing what they need to do so that you can take care of yourself? If they are, rap. I might guest on that. I got a mixtape. Nobody ever asked me about that. You know?
You gotta wait. You really got a mixtape?
Yeah, she got bars.
You do?
Okay.
Yo, send me a copy, bro. You think I'm kidding?
No, I have to sell it to you because this is the kind of idea.
Okay.
that I gotta give to Bay.
Right.
We don't give that away for free. We gotta provide the resources.
I feel that.
Is that a deal breaker for you guys? Like, would you not date someone that can't financially take care of themselves?
That's not a deal breaker for me. I've been that person.
Oh, wow.
And all you gotta do is hold on. Just wait until I become an influencer. We're gonna be all good.
Yo.
I've been that person. I've been the person in the relationship where I'm like, are you like worried that I'm not going to be able to provide for myself? And the person was like, yeah, I'm like worried about you. And I was like, damn, I've been that person. And I'm not that person now. I think it has to look promising. Like I have to be like, all right, like there's some type of ambition here. And there aren't excuses and you're not validating a whole bunch of things and you're not running from something. And if all that is good, then like, yeah, this shit is ridiculous. This is capitalism. This is chaos. It takes time. People are sad out here, as they should be, and trying to figure it out. So I'm not doing that whole, like, if you can't pay my bills, we can't be together. That's not me.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's definitely me. Like, if you can't pay your bills, we're not taking care of you. Like, nah, been there, done that. Take care of yourself. That's like, I don't care how much, as long as you can pay your bills and whatever and everything's situated, bless. That's all we need. I'm not paying your shit, bro. Ain't no one paying my bills.
I never said I was going to pay any bills. You got to stop yelling that at me. I said you got to be able to take care of yourself.
No, no, ma'am.
But we're saying the same thing.
Yo.
You're just more mad about it. We're saying the same thing.
It's PTSD. I apologize.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
you guys were at opposite ends. Like, you were kind of, floating for a bit, and then she was taking care of the floater. So.
It's a no for me, dog. All right, Jill, well, what you?
So, like, if there was promise, then I would actually be down for it. Like, if my partner was like, listen, that's something I really want to pursue. I'm going to go back to school. What do you think? I would support. I would. But there has to be light at the end of the tunnel. And I will drop them if I'll put in all that work and still drop you. No problem. That's it.
All right. Deal breaker questions. All right, those were good questions. So we'll go into
some questions about Jill.
Oh,
you got to talk about yourself.
Great.
We want to know you better. So some of these are like, well, when I say some, I mean like 2. So we have 5 questions here. These are all about you. This first question is kind of like a quick response. We just want to know what you think without thinking. Yes. Describe yourself in one word.
Intense.
Whoa.
I agree. I agree.
Do you feel like people call you intense often?
Yeah, that was like an X in my head being like, I'll answer this question for you, Jill. Yeah, I think I say that because I'm starting to be like really bad at social situations. So yeah, like performative, but not good. There was a time when I was better at them. So now like I just isolate a lot. I'm in here thinking my thoughts in my house. I work from home. So I think now when you're making a weird amount of eye contact or not, what's going on with you? I think like once you're out of practice with like social norms, you are really out of practice. And so these days I'm like, yeah, that's probably how I'm coming across. My word that I would have loved to say was consistent, but right now I think it's just intense.
Why don't you think you're consistent? What
I am.
What sways you?
I am, but I had to think about that, and you didn't give me that option.
Okay, I like that. I like that you gave me the intense answer then. All right. Question number 2. So when did you realize that your social commentary was reaching new and sometimes conflicting audiences? And what was your initial reaction to that positive and sometimes negative attention?
I mean, right away. Because like I didn't do the thing where like the account slowly grew. It like went viral and then slowly grew. So I knew right away that people were like, who the fuck are you? And we are here to troll you for the next year. So it wasn't shocking. And it seemed like if you're being honest, you should have some trolls and you should have some people that disagree. And honesty will change all the time. So I would expect that the more myself I am, the more I will be in conflict with like a mainstream internet. I think these days, if you find yourself with lots and lots of people following you, you should really think about that. Because I just don't know. If you can find 300,000 people that just agree with you or adore you, something's not quite right. Or you are acquiescing somehow. So I think right away, and I'm not wishing to continue that, but I imagine that it will be present. Most recently, of course, I had to like come out. So I didn't think that was a thing. I hadn't thought about it. And of course, like on my first like videos, I was getting called out, you know, as like all sorts of like homophobic shit all the time. So I was like, okay, that's a thing. But I think over time, what happened is I realized, I was like, oh, Jill, you're followed by a lot of like a very specific group of Black people who are pretending that you are straight so that they can agree with you, you know? And I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? So I was mad. I'm like, I don't want to like come out for these people. Like, what is the point of that? So that has been the recent conflict, is like, now I am part of the gay agenda. Yes, I am for the destruction of the Black family.
We're lucky to have you. Yes, it's true.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's the latest thing. Yeah, I got to be like a Hotep News story for a little bit of like, y'all, did you see that JillisBlack has a wife and blah, blah, blah. And it was like a thing of disappointment, you know? So for a few days, it was like, let's discuss how she's disappointed us. And that was sad for me because I was like, this is why, y'all. Like, this is why we can't win, because I'm not going to sit here and just talk shit about you. I'll miss you. Some of your ideals I'm totally with, and some I'm not. The ones that are out of fear or out of needing to always be right or out of whatever the fuck. I'll miss you, but you got to go.
But Jill, the thing is, Jill, so I've been looking because we have to like look, we have research.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing about you that necessarily said gay prior to the photo of your wife.
Yeah, my whole account was gay as fuck up until I started talking about race, which is what I wanted to do. You know, if you go back before the first viral video, everything is some sort of like queer commentary. It's me talking about all the queer shit. When the video went viral and I was like, oh, it is actually meaningful for you to use your voice in this way. That's what you're going to do right now. That wasn't like a conscious choice to not talk about queer issues. I talked about what I wanted to talk about. But if you had even gone back a week before, all it is like just dyke jokes, just like fucking, you know, so it's there. Have my exes on there. There's stuff. I probably actually got rid of those pictures, but there's stuff. So it wasn't neutral.
Okay.
The thing is, people don't like, you know, people don't scroll back that far.
I was also, so there were magazines posted. I think the very first spread I did was for a Black gay magazine. I was still like doing features in every interview that I did. I talked about being queer. So it really was a matter of like tuning out what you don't want. Because I had people who would listen to the interview. My biggest thing that even got like the Pan-African community interested in me was this talk I did in Indianapolis. And like, I say I'm queer in that talk. They don't, if it doesn't line up, you don't hear it.
But yeah, but when you post this picture fairly recently of you and your wife, it's like, this is my wife. You know what I mean? I feel like that's more of a threat to people. Like, oh, wow, she's not only queer, but she's also married.
We can't change her.
We can't.
No, like boldly made. Like,
right. You're like, it's not like some phase or just finding or whatever. Like, oh no,
this is have the right dick. Yeah.
This is tangible.
Yeah, and I have it.
Yeah.
They're right. I really have it. Yes, and I think it was also bad because it felt like a trick. Right? It's like 1 year anniversary means you was just out of the loop for a whole year. Then what you can assume was a dating phase. Because I think it's also like, but I was agreeing with you during this year. How is this computing in my head? How does this align with my agenda? Because I said that a gay person can't do this thing, and you did it, presumably for years. So now that can't work, so I got to back up. And they backed up. and they backed up in just like strange ways. And then some of them were like, you know what? Okay. And they sent me all sorts of DMs being like, I'm gonna work this out for myself, and they're still here. So
Wow.
it worked. It worked out. We got rid of who we needed to get rid of. We kept who we needed to keep, and it's a great picture.
I think it's kind of crazy and beautiful that you have these groups of people that are following your every move and are that invested in your personal life. Like it's kind of as I said, scary and beautiful. There's a lot of power in that, but it's
like,
scary.
how does that make you feel that people are so invested in your personal life?
I don't think that people are that invested in my personal life. I think this is the show of that, which is like, I don't do anything about my personal life on my Instagram anymore. So it was almost like a collision of my personal life with like who I got to be to each person, which is an idea. You know, I think JillisBlack at this point isn't me. It's like a character, you know, saying things that I would like to say. So it's like people can make that character into whatever they need her to be. The second I gave you an answer to a question you may or may not have, it was like, wait, you have a personal life. And that was the problem.
Okay. Damn. All right, Joe. You got to keep it moving.
Okay.
Question 3 for you. And I kind of, we kind of came up with this based on some content that you had put out. So do you have any unsolicited relationship advice for any listeners that are thinking about marriage?
You know what? It doesn't matter how far away I am from doing dating advice. Every time somebody's like, so the dating advice, I got to do another one of these. For somebody who's something getting married, what was the question?
Thinking about getting married.
Oh my God. Like, are you going to be honest? Are you going to be yourself? Are you going to have real conversations? This shit is hard. And also, like, you don't know everything. So you're going to be wrong a lot. Are you ready to be wrong a lot? You know, I mean, I think that people get married because you get to a point, like I'm 32 years old and I'm seeing people get married around me, you know, and they're having like these weddings. We have the internet now, so they're super curated. You know how the gays get. So it's like, oh, look at this and the black and white and everything's on point. We're going to get married at Audre Lorde's third house. And we like all the things, you know, you're like, what? Our DJ is from Ghana. And so I'm looking at like all of this stuff and I'm like, man, this is a lot of performance. I actually haven't had a wedding with my wife. We're having it later this year because it was like, let's get married and then like be married before we perform an aesthetic of married. And I think that's important to be like, are you getting married because you want the show of it and the idea of it and all the things that come with it and combining, you know, assets? Or are you getting married because you're like, let's just fuck this up. Like, let's see what we can do married. And I think you should have a revolutionary relationship. I think you should make it up what you want it to be. And if you are ready to do that, sure. Or if your DJ is inexpensive, then book them now. Let's go. But I think you should just be ready to be wrong and be honest.
That's marriage. Wrong and honest.
And go beyond the photos. You know, like it's more than that part where we get to post #Tumblr.
How'd you know she was the one?
Hold on, let me think how I want to say this so I don't get in trouble. I can be an unemotional person, right? So I struggle with like needing things to be logical and make sense, and she just fucking tricked me. There just was never another one of her where everything just clicked on at once, you know? So I think it was very obvious for me because I could be in a relationship and be like, I like you, but like, I'm good. Like, I'm basically good. I'm very close to my family. So like, I always feel supported in some way, right? Like I always have somebody in my corner. My mom's my best friend. So the idea of like partnering with someone who then becomes like your person was sort of foreign to me because I felt like I got people. And So I just couldn't really, like, I would listen to people talk about the relationships. I was like, interesting. And then there was her, and I was like, oh, fuck. And I had to, like, chase her and do the whole thing. But I think it was mostly, like, how accountable I was suddenly, because I could have a lot of bad dating behavior, and I was good at validating it, you know? So I was just like, I'm doing this because of this thing. And I could, like, tell a good lie. But I think with her, it was like, you're being really good right now. Like, you're scared to lie to her. You want to be accountable. You want to grow and learn. Like, when she says this shit to you, like, you really listening and taking it in. So it was really just like an opposite feeling. And now we get to do all the other hard stuff, live in the same house and talk about cleaning and, you know, boring things. But at first I was just like, gotcha. Okay. So.
I don't think you'll get in trouble. I think that was perfect.
Okay. Oh, I meant for the exes. I could have said some real fucked up shit, but I left. They're like, you didn't love me?
No, she didn't.
Okay.
You heard it here first, folks.
Okay.
Right. So why JillisBlack? It's kind of interesting that you brought it up that it was like that it's not really you anymore in a sense. Mm-hmm. So why did you choose JillisBlack to be kind of your brand?
You know what? I chose that name years ago. It was by accident. And now it seems like a perfect accident, but it was like, it was the first thing I thought of when I was making my Instagram. And before, it didn't really make a lot of sense with what I was doing. And I think I had more social critiques online about how we were talking about race than anything else. So it seemed like if that was the place where I had the most critiques, and that's also the place where I had to offer myself and put myself on the line. Because, like, don't just sit here and complain about how people are talking about it. Talk about it. Change the conversation. So it was really just that. And I mean, I didn't mean to make it a character. I think that's how I felt like I could do it with my mental health in check, which is like, if you're going to deal with like all the stuff that goes along with it, it's time to call on a little bit of performance here so that you can endure that. Because I think the JillisBlack character, especially early on, became like sort of like, I could handle my trolls. I could handle the naysayers. There was like a poetic thing happening. I think people trusted that I could like take care of myself and answer some questions well, you know, so whether you say that that's articulate or you like my writing or whatever the fuck you name that as, some of it's problematic and self-hatred, but we'll talk about that later. Whatever it does for you, I think people felt like I was good and that I was stable. And that wasn't true. You know, like, I was logging off and being like, what the fuck did that person just say to me? But online, I was able to tell them off in a very graceful way or diffuse a conversation in a very good. That wasn't reality. So, you know, I think JillisBlack is like the Teflon version of me. An ideal, maybe.
And why do you say it didn't make sense to you before? Is it because you're biracial?
I'm not biracial. Bing. I love doing that to people. I'm not. No, my father is biracial, but both my parents are Black. So it didn't make sense because it just like was a very serious name or like a strange choice for what I was doing, which was like a lot of comedic writing under selfies. So it was just kind of like, why is that the thing you need to state here when this is what you're doing? But no, not for any identity reason.
Okay. Do you feel like, you know, this character, JillisBlack, is around here for the long haul, or do you see that branching off into a different direction?
Oh, there's no way I can make it. I think it's the internet. It's like, I mean, come on. It's the internet. So like, I think the torch will be passed in some way, and already has. You know, it doesn't hurt my ego to be like, yeah, I think there are people now who are more committed to talking about this and will grow a following and become more popular and become more successful and actually write their book and do all the things that I never did with it. I think I was really conflicted, and it shows. I made like 32 posts last year. You know, I just like disappeared. So I think what'll happen is that I will be a quieter mainstay. I can see myself doing some writing, but more behind the scenes. And those opportunities are there for me. But like the idea of sort of like JillisBlack going to this next level and all of a sudden I'm doing it, probably not, but I think other people will, and God bless them. That's not really my desire. The idea of like fame really scares me. Because I don't know what happens there, and I don't know what that compromise really looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm scared of it. And if somebody feels strong enough to do that, that's who needs to do it. But it's not me.
Wow. So what is it that you do desire?
I think at this point, like, I want some of my original self back. So you'll see my content changing to be a little more like a mix of everything that I was doing, everything that the account has ever been. So like the comedic part, I just missed while I was like doing all of these, like, dear Black people, this serious thing. I was just like, yeah, but there's also a side of you that's not being fed like this. And so like the show with my mom is a lot of fun for me. The like lighter videos, the sort of like, I'm gonna make this video no matter what I'm wearing, what I look like, let's just do it right now. Because I was very contained before. So I think it's just gonna be, as far as social media goes, like a mixed bag of like all of my parts and not quite myself, but some reflection of it. And yeah, and then I'll be writing behind the scenes, which is what I'm doing now. I also have a full-time job. You're not supposed to have that as an influencer. That's not a sign of influencer success. You should be able to pay your bills off of being an influencer. That's part of the hierarchy, right? It's like, oh, I don't have a job. I do this full time. And that's like a flex. I don't have that flex. I'm working like 51 hours a week so that I don't have to take those gigs that compromise my integrity.
I mean, that's a good power to have, though. I feel like some people have like lost control of the brand. The brand is now bigger than them, so they just have to feed this beast that isn't real. So, I mean, if that means you have to keep working, then you're still my influencer. Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. I'll take it.
I'm working. And like they would have to be like, Jill, we giving you a full-time show on like HBO and Netflix. And I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna probably go down to part-time. I don't trust that shit at all. At all.
Your name would be next to Lena Waithe. She'd be like, nah, I'm still working.
I'm like, hold on, let me call in real quick. No.
I'm going to tell him I'll be late. But you in California. You can't.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, I can't.
So my last question, so I promise at least. So in a video from 2018, you said that some people are rooting for Black people the way we want them to be Black people. It sucked how I said that, but what did you mean, and why is that a problem?
Well, that's there's like a long answer for that. I'll try to synthesize it into like, I don't know what we're doing, and I think that's okay. But I think there's like I talked about this a little bit when we met, where it's like, is it representation or revolution? Mm-hmm. And right now we're calling representation revolutionary, which doesn't work, and also goes against the definition of revolution. And I think the answer that I want from Black people right now is like, are we saying that what we're going to do is play the game and progress through the game? Or are we saying we're not going to play the game? And the reason that that's important is because we're going to keep calling each other sellouts, keep questioning everybody's motives, keep saying who's can't, like, we're going to keep playing this game like we're revolting, but we're not. Like I want somebody to just be like, we're not though. So when you post these things, when you post the meme that says that, Steve Harvey is a sellout, and then the next meme that you post is Jay-Z donated this much money, that's fine. But like that is considered selling out with your definition too. Like he had to get that money somehow. Like it's like we don't want to talk about how we get anywhere. And so it's just confusing to me. Like I could take a lot more jobs if Black people would be like, no, girl, we doing representation, period. We're progressing in a white society. Our goal is to figure out how to synthesize white society, period. That's what we're doing. We've signed on to America. We're doing America. I'd be like, okay, great. I want an advertising job. Like, seriously, because that's my true love. I'm holding on to like this idea, like, is this fine? Like, is this okay? Y'all gonna call this, And so for a long time, I wouldn't make any decisions because I was like, right, but we being revolutionary, right? But we're not. And so I think it's like our inconsistency of like, we talk about this person, but not this thing. They're doing the same thing. We talk about this goal, but not that goal. It's doing the same thing. I think right now we just won't answer a question because it scares us. And we're not ready. And we're not ready to say that we've made this decision because it doesn't make us feel good about ourselves. But I don't think it should make us feel bad about ourselves as long as we've made a decision, right? And committed to each other. Because we can do this from the inside, but y'all make people mad who are inside by telling them that they're sellouts, and then they don't give a fuck anymore. And we see that time and time again. So I don't know. I mean, it's also like meaning sort of things like, because by the way, I'm a queer and you don't want to address that. Or I'm also a person who's been in a lot of whitewashed culture and you're ignoring that part of me. Like just all sorts of little identity things, but also bigger things, which is like, y'all, can we just say what we're up to so we can move on?
Right. What are we doing here? What's the goal?
What's our goal? Just what's our goal? Because we can't sew, we can't garden, we don't have, like, y'all, what would that look like? We're not in touch with anything anymore. So we literally can't do this thing right now that we're talking about. We can't. And it also is not revolutionary to just go buy a t-shirt and put it on. And like, it's not. And I just want one Webster's dictionary to be open to revolution so that we can squash that. Because it certainly doesn't mean title.
Right. It's, how do I want to say? It's pretending to be revolutionary, I guess. It's the act. It's the facade. It's what life is for everybody nowadays. It's this facade of that we put of who we are, who we want to be, and instead of actually living it. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah.
You got to go up and stay down. Go up and stay down. The Black cultural issue.
But like, what do you say? Like, I just wonder what do you say to the people that feel like they are being, like what they're doing, their experience is an active revolution? Like how, is it just, it's not? Like what?
Well, it depends on what it is. I mean, there are people who have like made choices out of the society who are like just very like they have limitations with how they will connect to the made society. They are being revolutionary. They know how to fend for themselves. They know how to shoot guns. They know like they're practicing. And I think there's like the t-shirt buying culture, which is just saying that we're revolutionary, but we're showing up at Bank of America to work our job, And it's like, I don't have a critique of your Bank of America job. I just want you to answer the question. Just that's it. So that I can stop being like, see, you're a sellout. No, just answer the question. And then I don't care. Who the fuck am I? Right? I'm as much of a sellout as you are. And I can pretend that I'm not, but I have Amazon Prime. You know what I mean? I'm like buying clothes like I'm doing the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a revolutionary. And I can put that anywhere, but I'm not a revolutionary. And it's not a revolution to be on your cell phone, talking shit on the internet. It's not a revolution. I'm on my fucking AT&T ass phone on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just talking shit on my fucking phone. What kind of revolutionary am I? And that hurts people's feelings because they think they're doing online activism, and that's fine. But I prefer thought leader, because then at least it's like, all right, I'm selling you some sort of idea. But like revolutionary on fucking Verizon? You couldn't be, because if you were actually dangerous, they'd have all your information.
Yeah, facts.
Shit, Jill.
Big
Yo,
facts.
do you each of you watch Black Mirror?
Absolutely, but the UK version, that American, you know how we are. But the UK one is, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Do you remember that episode where it was the guy from Get Out, with the guy from Get Out, and it was, do you remember how he like screamed on stage, talked all that shit, and they ended up, they gave him like a show where he talked shit, and he was living in the same shit as.
Absolutely. It's my favorite episode.
Say that, I was like, fuck. Like,
yeah, it's my favorite episode. And it's also like, if I get any emails from anybody being like, JillisBlack, we would like you to do the thing, it's absolutely that episode of like, you want me to just like come and talk about all the, like I'd show up to the panel with you, and the idea is to like say, hey, this is the thing. Are you going to change any of those things actually? Or am I just here to like be funny and rebellious, some performance of like what it could be? I don't know. Like what's really changing from that kind of stuff? I love that episode. I have felt trapped in that episode, but not anymore because my follower count stopped growing, so I don't think that's going to be me. But somebody else should watch it.
All right. So, all right, we're going to go into the topic of the week, and we're going to talk about Jussie Smollett. All right. I want to talk about a few things, but, quick timeline, right? He received a letter that some hate attack, whatever is about to happen. Then he was attacked on January 29th, and it was supposed to be a hate crime, racial, homophobic slurs, that whole, this is his MAGA country.
Uh-huh.
And then they arrested 2 people, then they let them go.
Yes.
And then the cops come out and say, we're investigating this. Seems like this shit might not be real.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's mad. Everybody's mad.
Everybody mad. Now everyone calling Jussie a liar. And we'll go into that. And now today, February 20th, as we're recording this, Jussie Smollett is officially now a suspect in his own hate crime attack case. So let's rewind. How did you feel when you first heard about this attack to Jussie Smollett? When you first heard about it, January 29th?
When I first heard about it, I was like, whoa. That was my reaction. It was like, whoa, that's very strange. And like, I just let it sit there and just like, that seems not unusual, but just wild for the media, right? Because I think there's media and then there's us, right? So it seemed like a wild media story for a celebrity, not for a regular person.
Yes.
So I was just, at first I was like, wow, that's a really interesting celebrity story. Huh. And then I got sad. Like, I think a lot of people have just been like, wow, man, that's where this is right now. But not in that like stereotypical, like, Trump is the worst person ever. I hate Trump. Fuck Trump. Because, like, I have a memory that's longer than a couple years long. So it was more in just like wow, we're really like doing some interesting things with identity right now. We're making some large statements. That's the way that I was sad. Because other than that, like, again, this is America.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when I first heard, I was like, oh shit, like, Jussie Smollett got attacked? What? Like, this is someone who's like, on TV, people know this person. And like, he got a noose around his neck. And like, they said, what they say, they poured bleach on him or something? Some substance?
Yeah, he yelled like MAGA.
Yeah, some MAGA. So it was that. But then I also went into, I was like, okay, well, not fucked up, but maybe it's good this happened to someone who people know about. So maybe we can actually start talking about it. And maybe this is going to be a start of the revolution. Wink, wink. Something.
January 29th, I felt like was Jussie Smollett Day. IG was just photos of Jussie, and all the celebrities were posting whatever picture they last took with him. Like, it was Jussie Day. And to be honest, I know y'all gonna probably think I'm stupid, but from the jump, I was just like, why was this fool going to Subway? Because I can't stand Subway, like, personally.
Oh my
I hate
God.
the smell of Subway. I was like, why was this rich ass fool going to Subway? So that's how I felt from day one. And I'm not saying that now because I'm jaded, I swear.
I like it.
Why are we going to Subway? Yeah.
Okay. So that's the initial, right? That happens. Mm-hmm. They arrest, they're looking for these 2 people of interest, right? They find them, arrest them. and then they are released.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I read an article where they're saying Chicago PD is thinking this is all staged and put together. So when I saw that article, I'm like, should I believe the Chicago police? Are they trying to cover something up? So that's my initial reaction. Because I'm still trying to stick by Jussie Smollett's side. Why would he do this to himself? Why would this be made up? Like, what can he really get out of that?
And he just he never seemed like the type that would do this for fame. You get like, he never seemed like he would go through these lengths. Like, he already had it. People adored him. He was generally a favorite. Straight white people liked him too. You know what I mean? Like, why? He didn't really have anything to lose.
I mean, I think for me, it's the idea of like, and I'm still, just for kicks, gonna say, you know, that he's telling the truth just as some sort of baseline so that I can talk about it the way that I want to. Let's assume like there's still room that this is a giant mess and he's telling the truth. I think, and now let me destroy that. I think we're only able to look at it from the perspective of like, it's now gone wrong. I want to imagine a world where it went right, where it is Jussie Smollett Day or Smollett Day on your timeline, and we got all these white celebrities being like, oh my God, he becomes the face of queer everything, and it's a black man. And, you know, I think like, let's just picture what would have happened if we find two white guys who are Trump supporters and blah, blah, blah. Imagine that version and then think about why he would do it. Because again, I'm not saying he did. I want to picture the world where he becomes the face of everything intersectional.
Yeah.
Well, think about how that worked for Ellen. So Ellen, you know, she became a martyr of sorts. She lost her TV show because she came out as gay. And she had to go away for a while. But then Ellen is the America's lesbian.
That's right.
By that formula.
Bruh, I was not, you know what, that is valid, you know? I'm not saying it's true, whatever. I didn't even think about it that way because I'm over here thinking like, what can you get out of this? Like, why? But when you put it like that and present it that way, there's a long-term strategy here.
Oh my God, the colleges? They're like, I'm almost jealous because I'm thinking about all the fucking college tours, all of the speaking engagements, all of the book. So I'm thinking, I mean, every event that we got, queers are loyal as fuck because we only have so many of us. So like the idea of this like attractive black celebrity man who Trump, MAGA country, like he would have been the symbol of our time if it went right.
He would have been like Times Person of the Year.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Because that's where we are right now. Like that's the kind of shit that we like. Again, if that was the plan, we should consider what it looks like if it goes right. And of course, you don't do anything that you don't think is going to go right. Like, you're not like, this will go wrong. You do it because you think it'll go right.
So should we not, I feel like we can't cancel him yet. Let's not cancel him at all. Because if this isn't true, we have to find out what the fuck happened. But like, we still don't know. As you mentioned, like there's still doubt. There is still doubt. Do you think we're waiting too long to give him we're giving him the benefit of the doubt for too long? Like if this was a heterosexual white dude that got beat up by some black guys and they yelled, fuck MAGA country, you know, like what they would just be, you know, be like, get the fuck up, dust yourself off, you're fine. You know, so like, are we giving him too much leeway?
Who's giving him leeway? Do you see people out there? They trashing him.
Not really.
It's kind of switched up. I mean,
I think it's split. I think it's
no,
still split.
I don't see no support. All I see is the memes.
It's not that. It's definitely not split. I'm gonna give you like 70-30.
They say you a damn Jussie Smollett liar. That's what someone said on Facebook.
So when you do some shit, you a Jussie Smollett now? Oh, yeah, fuck Jussie.
People.
Yeah, it's not good.
The black people, like, you know, they said, damn, you know, we're sad for him or whatever. You know, it was a racial and homophobic attack or whatever. But now those black people are like, oh, I knew he was lying, blah, 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 this and that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, bruh. It's just a hot mess.
It's a mess. For me, when we talk about the police, of course you can't trust the police. Let's start there. Like, you can't trust the police. Some part of what they're saying ain't true, period. Like, just in general. Now, all of that considered, the problem that I had was that, to me, there's police versus media. If this was, again, one of us, I'd be like, all right, no, I'm just with us. And even if the person's lying, I know why they lying. So I'm still fucking with it. Like, I think the problem is the media is a force. Like, fame is a force, celebrity is a force. So to me, I had two forces that I don't trust very much working against each other.
Right.
And that was the aspect that was always bad, was like, oh God, it's a fucking celebrity. Because, like, I don't know, it could be a million different things. Media is used in a million different ways. So now I have to be a conspiracy theorist and be like, this could be anything. The purpose of this could be anything. And I just can't with that much, like, what the fuckness. Yeah. I just can't. It's overwhelming to me. And Lee Daniels, I mean, my God, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. I know somehow he's involved. I know it.
This might be, I feel like this is a social experiment. I do. I feel like they are punking us.
Maybe, but it's just weird. Like, all right, then you hire, so you say it's this MAGA attack, right? If we're talking, right? But then you hire two Nigerians to pull it off. Like, it's just so ill-planned. Like,
that's my favorite part. From the show.
Nigerians, like, don't get me wrong, but, like, they're scammers, and, like, first off, no, what I'm saying, that's what people say. I can say that type of shit. I'm sorry. Those my peoples too. I can say it.
All right.
I'm staying away from
it. Nigerians, okay? So you hire these two Nigerians, extras from Empire, they say, right? So
yes.
they released them because due to new evidence, right? Mm-hmm. Then they say the law enforcement says Smollett paid these two men who are now cooperating with the police to stage this attack against him.
Yeah. And the amount of money, to me, is one of the moments where I was like, oh shit, this is real. Because it is literally that sum of money that you're offered to do something that's, like, bigger than what the offer is, but still enough money where you're like, maybe. $3,500, I think, is what it is.
Okay.
For $3,500, like, what?
It's like $3,500, and I'm like, that is the
500.
That's correct, and each one got $3,500, and I could picture Jussie writing this check or Venmoing.
It was cash. Venmo.
I think the limit might be $3,000. I don't know. Either way, I could just picture $3,500. Like, that is a right number for them to be like, yeah, he paid us $3,500. It's not too much. It's not too little. I believe it.
I mean, for all that, I would think he would pay more.
Red hat.
Right, but he's not going to.
Yeah.
See, if he did it right and actually hired some white people to do it and paid them at least $6 figures, he could have got away with it.
How much do you pay somebody to beat your ass and put a noose on you in Puerto Rico?
$100K.
That's how much you would pay somebody to beat your ass.
Holy shit. When do you want it done?
$100K. No, legit. If I'm thinking about the long term and everything, $100K. Yeah. I gotta pay these people to beat my ass, follow a story, maybe get captured.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll say captured like these niggas run away, but you know what I mean.
3,500 is not enough to lie to the police.
3,500, kiss my ass, so what? I don't want it. What the fuck is 3,500?
I agree, but that's why I believe it. If they had come with something like, he gave us $100,000, I'd be like, this shit ain't real.
Yeah.
But because it was $3,500, I was like, I've been there. I've been on the other end of the ask where it's like, I'll pay you $3,500 for it. And I'm like, really? That's what you got? $3,500 for me to fuck you up and become the laughing stock of America. $3,500.
And now it's fucked up. So now he's dropped, right? From Empire.
Is he?
Anyone watches Empire anymore? but
he got dropped?
that's what I heard.
I know he was cut from a lot of scenes, but is he like done?
I heard he's getting a cut. I know he was cut from scenes, like they cut out his Empire episodes.
It's a bad look. Taraji P. Henson just unfriended him. That's not a good look, bruh.
Yo, and then they said that
She did?
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, it's over.
And he sent himself the racist letter. That's what they say. He sent it to himself. He didn't even say, here, yo, write this, send it to me here. Monaghan sent it himself to himself.
But that's not real, right? I mean, we have to think when something is this ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. Something is, I'm not saying that it happened this way. What I do continue to believe is that he didn't act alone in his desire to have this happen. That's the only thing I'm going to say is he being manipulated by a force to be this symbol? Is it like he's being coerced? Because I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And we have two ridiculous options. The supposed truth is ridiculous, and the other supposed truth is ridiculous. So when something is that bizarre, I have to be like, all right, so you did something, and now you're being used, because there's no way you would do this. This is too stupid. It's too risky. The only way somebody could do that is if they're like, yo, so you fucked with me. I have this thing on you. Here's what I need you to do. Whether that be Fox Network or anybody else, I'm just like, I just don't think it's alone. It's like OJ. He couldn't have done it alone.
No, you're right.
His career's damaged.
Yeah. But I mean, he becomes this symbol and this whole event, you know, and then of course the two black men that have been part of it. It's like these gay black men that were accusing the MAGA folks of something, but instead they're using them to, I don't know, make it look like the MAGA folks aren't that bad after all. This is fucked up. This is deep.
I'm just saying he's on Fox. That's all I'm going to say is like, no black person should ever find themselves on Fox for any reason. We knew that, first of all. That includes you, Taraji. And second of all, I'm just like, no, I just don't think so. It seems silly. And so it has to be something else. And I'm very curious to find out what it's going to be, because his life is over.
Yeah.
And why?
There was one theory that he was at some gay club and he was flirting with somebody's man. And then they went and followed him out the club and beat his ass because he was flirting. Whoever the other person was, beat his ass. And if you look at the way he was beaten, that could, one broken rib, scratches on the face, like that coincides with that, like a light jumping. And then he used this to cover it up so he wouldn't look like, I don't know, what the fuck ever. But that was one theory.
Was his star that big? I don't mean to get petty.
Yeah.
But this isn't exactly Denzel.
No.
We're like, yo, is your career at risk because we hear that she was looking at somebody's nigga? Like, are we really worried about Jussie Smollett hitting on somebody's boyfriend? Actually, I don't think we really care. Like, so I think if that's the case, then he has a larger than life idea of who he is.
Exactly.
I'm just like,
I'm sure the ego is big. He
looked like he got a big ego.
I did watch the interview. We didn't talk about that.
About gay Tupac? Y'all didn't hear about gay Pac?
It's not good. It's not good.
Jill, tell us about gay Tupac.
You know what? I looked for that clip so hard, but I didn't find it. I only found like a 15-minute interview. I'd seen like the memes where he compares himself to Tupac. So I was like, oh my God, I have to see it. So I'm like online looking. I couldn't find it.
If that is false, then I'm done with the whole story. Because apparently Jussie called himself gay Tupac in the interview at some point. He compared himself to Tupac as some type of martyr.
But I can't. If he said that, the world will end. This is it. This might be in times. This story is so ridiculous, it might be over. And we also have to say, we have to cover our asses in this conversation and say that the worst part, of course, is that, like, this can happen.
Yes.
Like, that's why everyone's mad at you, Jussie. Is like, yo, this happens. And it happens more than this.
It was just so much prejudice in one thing, right? It was like faggot, MAGA country, like it was like all the shit.
All of it. All of it. Let's see what sticks.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh my God, we have to stick around and see what happens for
now
real.
that he's a suspect in his own hate crime. You know, sorry, it doesn't make any sense.
Subway, bro.
Like, it's like giving me a headache.
He can become a spokesperson for them, though.
No.
Yes, he can. Imagine the spin. See, this is why I needed to go into advertisement. Imagine the spin of like all that he's risked for Subway. I would have commercials all year.
Yo, the last Subway spokesperson didn't go too well either. Subway's not hiring a spokesperson.
It did not, did it?
Subway's done.
Fine.
Fuck a spokesperson. We're gonna let sandwiches speak for themselves. They like fuck that.
All right,
New
that's
teriyaki with fucking avocado.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
Well,
Jill, do you have anything coming up?
Wow. What a- okay. Well, that being said, yeah. So I'm actually, I just got a role on Empire. Something just opened up.
Bruh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's terrible.
I'm so gullible that I was just like,
Yeah. Yeah, they're hiring. BET
After everything you just
and
said about
Empire.
Fox.
Yeah, I know. BET and Empire, I tell you. Yeah. Also, quickly, I want to say that if this is just a thing of mental health, then as Black people, we should also think about that. If he did come up with this, all these conversations that we have about Black mental health matters and this and that, when we're done being like, what the fuck, we need to pull back and be like, what has happened here? Right? Because there's also that. There's something about this that's like, what's going on? And if we care like we say we do on the internet, then when we're done laughing, and I understand that's our coping mechanism, and it is also mine, then we might want to bring this into a conversation about our mental health. Now, what am I doing? I am just writing. You can follow me or unfollow me at JillisBlack. You guys, I don't care. You know, like, I'm going to try everything and have a lot of fun, and you'll just see what happens. I'm going to continue making this show with my mom because it just brings me a lot of joy. And I'm going to, maybe you will see a film that I have written come out soon. You might see that. You might see some other things. I don't know right now. Things are up in the air. I have some speaking engagements. Don't go to them. So I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm saying the same thing that I always say. And if you've heard it before, you don't need to hear it again. We should learn to garden. You should learn how to sew. If you want to learn how to shoot a gun, I think you should do that before they take them away. And that's about all I got. Is just I'm in transition, and I don't feel the need to tell you anything that I'm doing.
All right, that's awesome. We'll keep on not telling us, and we'll keep on watching.
And again, I wonder why I'm broke.
I'm excited to see where this all ends up. Really. I think it's just funny because I was talking to one of my, I'm sorry, I know we're closing out. I was talking to one of our friends, Carol, Monday, and she's like, oh, who are you guys interviewing next for Queer Ambition? I was like, JillisBlack. She fangirled out. When I mean she fangirled out, like she had to take like 5 minutes to like collect herself. She was like, so, and I'm just like, Carol, relax.
Hi, Carol. Carol, thank you.
Give a shout out to Carol.
Yeah, I'm about to right now. You don't even have to ask. Carol, thank you so much. I wish I had more for you, Carol. I just, the thing that you like about me is the reason I don't have more, which is that, like, this shit is bullshit. This online shit is bullshit. You want me to be real about it? I don't want to blow up online. You don't want that for me. You want me to write some weird, obscure movie about identity that people are like, yes, this. Oh, who wrote that? JillisBlack wrote that. And it'll make sense. It'll make more sense than the Jussie story. And it's just like, that's what you want from me. And I just don't have that for you yet. And I feel good about it. Follow somebody else. But Carol, listen. thank you so much, because without people just like being this invested in me, I would have gotten off the internet a long time ago. And I'm not selling you anything fake, so I don't have to be embarrassed about anything. When people like me, I get to be like, good. I'm not a bad person to like online. There are many worse options. So you have pretty good taste, and I mean that because you're friends. So you gotta because you're friends with Soko. So you have great taste. So I trust that following me is just more good taste, and I appreciate it. Carol.
Oh my God.
Carol.
She's gonna freak over this.
Yeah, she's gonna freak the fuck out.
Don't do it. I'm just a person. I do so many embarrassing things alone in my house all day. I have a stationary bike, and I make a playlist, right, to get on the stationary bike, and it's got like Third Eye Blind and Drake on it. You don't need to feel any kind of way. I'm an embarrassing person, but thank you.
Jill, do you?
Yeah.
I know we've been trying to like. I'm trying to. So
What's up?
I'm curious. Do you see any representations of yourself on TV and movies?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Don't even ask me if I watch any of these things. I don't watch any of. I guess I do see a little representation. There's a bit of an inside joke about dear white people, but I think no. But there will be. I think by the time I'm done, there will be. And I think that there is a Blackness that is beyond just like a mainstream culture. I think it's time to say, like, we get to be Black and be a lot of different things. And those things aren't like, see, we're doing other things. Look at us as Black people doing weird stuff. Like, no, you guys, like, stop. Like, we have weird ass Black people. We have normal ass Black people. We have Black people. We're a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And you can also be aware of the game that's being played against Black people while being a weird Black person. It's not like some naive lifestyle. I would like to see an actual relationship between a mother and daughter that's not just steeping in like supposed rebelliousness or respectability. I would like to see different dynamics. And if I have any say in it, I'm going to create those. Because what you don't know about me is that I actually write fiction. And I can't wait to write some fiction. So I'm going to do my best. And if anybody has any leads for me, they can send them to me at JillisBlack, because I'm too busy working to make this go the way I want it to. But, you know.
No, you have your mom as a manager, so you're good on the business end.
Can you imagine if that was real?
Far as I know.
Even worse than it is now.
No, you're about to do something with Ace Hood. Wait, did you find out who he was yet?
You just wait until episode 2 on Friday. She's wild. She's so wild.
Jill, thank you so much. I wanted to just tell, so I was like trying to be real cool and not just abruptly be like, yo, please come to my podcast. So I was like just chilling. She was at the other side of the table and I'm just standing there acting like I don't want to ask her to be on the podcast. And she's like, so are you going to ask me to be on your podcast? I was like, yes, I am.
I just want to talk. I just want to talk. Like, I'll say yes. I mean, if someone wants to talk to me, like, let's talk. What else? You know, thank you for asking me.
Of course. And then the whole night I was just telling her how poppin' she was, because everyone was like coming up to her, yo, you're so funny. Yo, you're so this. I was like, yo, you poppin', bro. She was like, no.
In New York. Because it would take somebody in New York to take JillisBlack very seriously. Like, Jill, you're just an inspiration. I'm like, y'all, it's not all this. It's not all this, though. I appreciate it. It's just not, it's not all that. But thank you.
We love you so much. I hope to have you back soon, too.
Yeah, why not? I feel like just give me a square and I'll just be over here and we'll see who our next guest is.
Yeah. You're on the podcast officially. Yes.
All right. So goes like, no.
Nah. July, nah.
Like, nah.
Okay. All right, Joe, we're going to see you soon. Thank you again.
Thanks.
Can I have that shirt?
I'll think about it. I thrifted this, so I'm tired of giving away things I thrifted because I can't ever find them again. You know? So.
Give it up, Soko. You'll find a new one.
That's okay. When I come back, I'll ask you again, and it'll get awkward enough where you'll have to do it.
Bye, y'all.